Of all the auto brands on the road today, only one has been named the best auto brand for 6 straight years. That brand is Mazda. Come shop and save on the award-winning lineup of new Mazdas right now at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
As we start another week of the Clarence Bug Show, here's hoping that all is well with you and yours in your world. Since the last opportunity, we had to spend some time with you. We start today's show talking about the continuation and the escalation of a very, very troubling trend. All across this country, we've seen this ugly, deadly trend, and as is usually the case, we are in no way, shape, or form immune to it here in Louisiana. It is, I guess, symptomatic of our society these days, and the criminal element and the callousness of the criminal element when it comes to human life. It is hard for decent, honest, freedom-loving people to wrap our minds around the idea that simply getting in your car, going across town, going about your appointed rounds, to be driving on the interstate, and all of a sudden find yourself in the midst of a rolling gunfight. It is almost incomprehensible to think that on an interstate highway, if you're not paying attention to everything around you, you may at any moment find yourself in a life or death situation. Louisiana State Police are currently investigating the 4th interstate shooting in the metro New Orleans area in the past week. Who do we think we are? Chicago? All of a sudden now? 4 interstate shootings in the metro New Orleans area in the past week. The latest injured 2 people and shut down I-310 in St. Charles Parish for several hours on Sunday. That shooting happened around 3:30 in the morning in St. Rose. an 18-year-old resident of Vacherie, treated for a gunshot wound to his back, released from the hospital a short time later. The second subject, 25-year-old Devontae Mitchell of Edgard, sustained a much more serious injury and succumbed to that injury while at the hospital. The St. Charles Sheriff's Office Detectives Bureau is working to arrest the individuals responsible, and it is believed at this time that the victims were commuting through St. Charles Parish from New Orleans to St. John and St. James parishes when that shooting occurred on the elevated portion of I-310 in St. Rose. Last week, there were 2 shootings on I-610 and 1 on the Pontchartrain Expressway. In the New Orleans area, get this, there have been more than 20 interstate shootings over the past year. You know, with all we find ourselves dealing with these days, with COVID-19, with everyday life, with accidents, whether they are on the roadway or in the workplace, wherever, it's almost unconscionable that the simple act of reaching for your keys could put you in a life or death situation. You've heard me say God knows how many times, society, and particularly our young people, it's speaking to us. And when you take into account, in the New Orleans metro area, in the past year, over 20 shootings on the interstate, I don't know how much more of a wake-up call we need. Now, for the record, I understand when an individual gets into a vehicle, their actions are beyond the control of individuals like us. We can't control what an individual does behind the wheel or as a passenger in a vehicle. But sadly, when you are talking about firing a weapon at interstate speed, what's the word I'm looking for? The accuracy is suspect at best. I mean, how many people do you know that on any given day, shooting at a stationary target, have problems hitting the target? Now imagine those individuals at 60, 70, 80 miles an hour firing a weapon. And inevitably, it is typically an innocent person that ends up getting caught up in the carnage. These individuals, because of their callous lack of regard for human life, are so hell-bent on exacting revenge or a preemptive strike or whatever you want to attribute it to, either don't possess the ability to think about or could simply care less about the ramifications of their actions. Meaning, shooting an individual in a rolling car on the interstate at highway speed, hitting the driver of that vehicle. The driver then loses control, drives into oncoming traffic if there's no median barrier there. And now, God knows how many innocent people that had absolutely nothing to do with whatever the beef was between these individuals. And now, innocent bystanders doing nothing more than driving down the interstate, going to pick up their kids from t-ball practice or piano lessons or whatever, now find themselves in a life or death situation. In recent memory in this country, and you could probably assign a portion of the blame, and I will leave to you to decide what that percentage is. You could blame COVID-19, the added mental stress, the desire for us to get back out and about and resume our normal lives. But at the end of the day, thinking people have to ask themselves, what has happened to our respect for human life? Now, it's one thing if you and the party or parties that you are beefing with, if you're standing on a street corner and one pulls a gun and you're trying to defend yourself, well, that's one thing. But for God's sake, y'all, driving down the freaking interstate where one errant bullet, or if the person driving is the intended target, could lead to untold carnage. I mean, just imagine, if you will, some deviant miscreant beefing with someone, opens fire on the interstate, an errant projectile, bullet, hits the driver of an 18-wheeler, a tanker no less. That person loses consciousness. Can you imagine the carnage that could erupt on the interstate, engulfing mostly innocent bystanders? Listen, y'all, you know your buddy Clarence. As a diehard conservative, I am leading the field when it comes to smaller government and less government intrusion in our lives. But y'all, we got to do something about this foolishness. If we don't, we will have no one to blame but ourselves. And in the meantime, conventional wisdom would say it's going to get worse before it gets better. Over 20 shootings on the interstate in the New Orleans metro area in the last year. And in case you haven't noticed, it is not just limited to the New Orleans metro. If we don't get a handle on this sometime soon, rest assured, y'all, coming soon to an interstate near you. First break of today's show. It is, of course, Tuesday. We start the week. And, of course, second segment of the Clarence Bugg Show means it's time for another edition of, now that's just stupid. That's next. After this break, on today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Sit tight.
I owe owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Team Honda wants to thank you for once again making us Louisiana's #1 new car dealer by offering you never-before-seen savings. For the first time ever, get 0% financing up to 60 months on some of your favorite Honda models. Get thousands in savings right now at Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
The Post on Church Point, a brand new event venue owned and managed by the VFW Post 3693, welcomes you to the bridal show of the future. Come out and enjoy the food, dancing, meet and greet with vendors, and win amazing prizes. Friday, August 6th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. For tickets, please visit thepostbridalshowgonzales.com or follow on Instagram. Located at 42430 Church Point Road, Gonzales. Vendor space is very limited, so hurry to secure your spot.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bud Show. If you are new to the show, new to the station, new to the area, you may not be aware that in response to the ever-growing level of stupidity in this country, and I guess to be fair, around the world, but certainly here, we have instituted a new segment. This segment is entitled, now that's just stupid, but you'll notice the spelling. This is not your normal run-of-the-mill S-T-U-P-I-D. This is an entirely different level of stupid, as in S-T-O-O-P-I-D. We start this edition with our nation's capital. Surprise, surprise, right? As if there's not enough stupid constantly coming out of Washington, D.C. But you may have noticed over the last couple of days, in Cuba, there is arguably the most civil unrest in recent memory. Individuals there are calling for an end to the dictatorship and the misery that the communist government there has wreaked upon the lives of the citizens of Cuba. As more and more, at last count, dozens of protests have erupted all across Cuba, with individuals calling for freedom. The White House was asked yesterday, what do they make of this? And of course, White House spokesperson Jen Psaki, in fielding questions from reporters, took us to an entirely new level of stupid. She was asked the question yesterday regarding the outbreak of protests there. If the Cuban protests, as the mainstream media would have you believe, is this about the rising number of COVID cases in Cuba? Her response, quote, the White House is still assessing what is motivating, of course, and driving all these individuals who have taken to the streets. There are a range of reasons we are hearing from people on the ground that are protesting. The reporter then asked for a clarification. Quote, so when these protesters are yelling freedom and enough, there are people within the administration who think they're saying freedom from rising COVID cases? Her response, there's a global pandemic right now. Most people in that country don't have access to vaccines. That's certainly something we'd love to help with. So I would say that when people are out there on the street protesting and complaining about the lack of access to economic prosperity, to the medical supplies they need, to a life they deserve to live, that can take on a range of meaning. Now, does anybody other than me find it ironic that the folks protesting in Cuba, the folks recently protesting in Venezuela, did you notice all the American flags that they were waving during the protest? Marty said, yep, I saw it. I noticed it. That should tell you something. But more important than that, and I'm sure, well, let me back that bus up. She either was sure or was desperately hoping that we would not be able to read between the lines. As you well know, Bernie Sanders, AOC, the squad, and all the folks trying to usher in democratic socialism to this country, she inadvertently, or figuring y'all too stupid to read between the lines, she inadvertently told everyone why and how socialism doesn't work. Her words, quote, there is a global pandemic right now. Most people in that country don't have access to vaccines. I would say that when people are out there on the street protesting and complaining about the lack of access to economic prosperity, to the medical supplies they need, to a life they deserve to live, that can take on a range of meaning. So, Bernie, AOC, all these other clowns, she just told you, in socialist societies, a lack of economic prosperity, a lack of medical supplies, a lack of living a life they deserve to live. And yet, this is what these idiots want to usher in to America. How many times do I have to tell you? All you have to do is listen and watch. Don't take what the mainstream media will feed you, the pablum, the drivel, and think for yourself. Ironically, folks in Cuba living under this despicable form of government, when they protest, they're not waving the Cuban flag, they're waving the American flag. You know, it's amazing, and it's very telling. These folk, of course, I guess it is part of the human experience, when you live something and see firsthand how ugly it is, the last thing you want is to have it where you live. All these folk running around talking about, oh, America is systemically racist, and America this, and America's bad, and this, that, and the other. Funny how the people who are living under the most severely oppressive and repressive governments in history all want to come here. You know, something occurred to me the other night. If America is so evil, if America is so racist, if America is so bad, how many people do you see leaving America to go live in Cuba, to go live in Venezuela, to go live in Honduras, to go live in Mexico, to go live anywhere? How many people do you see leaving America to go to these other countries? Now, let's flip that coin over. How many people do you see trying to come to America? Oh, since, the first of the year, how many millions have come across the border trying to get into this country? Listen, y'all, you don't have to be Einstein. You don't have to be the brightest bulb in the chandelier to figure this one out. All you have to do is look, y'all. How many folk do you see leaving America to go live in these other countries? And how many do you see trying to get into America? And yet, y'all suck up this foolishness from ABC News, NBC, CBS, CNN, LOL, MSLSD, and all these other idiots to try and hoodwink, snooker, and bamboozle you into thinking this country is the most evil place ever created. Tell you what, go talk to them folk in Cuba. Tell you what, go talk to them folk in Venezuela. Tell you what, go talk to them folk in North Korea, in Iran. Go around the world. Of course, now, Mark Twain may have said it best. Travel is the biggest enemy of bigotry. Take your happy behind outside of this country. Go live in Mexico for a year. Go live in Venezuela for a year. Go live in Iraq or Iran or Afghanistan for a year. Then come back and let's talk. You couldn't get your happy behind back in this country fast enough. With all of the systemic racism, with all of the evil people in America, your happy behind couldn't get back here fast enough. Now listen, y'all, don't get it twisted. We as a nation should never, ever stop trying to be better. That is the whole purpose of any organized society. The purpose is to leave what we have better for our children than what we had ourselves. But at the end of the day, y'all, like I say, do a little traveling. Stop watching CNN and all these, I almost let it slip, Marty, all these clowns. Find out for yourself. And then you'll realize, maybe, just maybe, them folk been lying to us, and America ain't so bad after all. If you don't, well, we'll put you in that group. You just stupid. Bottom of the hour break. We'll come back and talk about a little hypocrisy, as sad as it is. That's next on the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. You know, I will be the first to acknowledge that longevity, as Martin once famously said, longevity has its place. But longevity without wisdom is nothing. It can be equated to the old saying, power without control is nothing. Having that vehicle that can top out at 200 miles an hour is one thing. But without the discipline to control your emotions, it can then become deadly, particularly for other people who have nothing to do with that vehicle. I have in 40 years of broadcasting and watching politics, I have long since learned that political parties, particularly Democrats / progressives / liberals, could care less. Actually, what's less than less, Marty? Nothing. N-U-T-T-I-N, nothing. These folks care less than nothing about us, particularly black folk. It is arguably, black people, the most loyal part of the Democrat base. Even after all these years of voting almost exclusively Democrat, after all these years, we still pretty much don't have a darn thing to show for it as a community. Now, that is what that is. But every now and then, Democrats / liberals / progressives show us in no uncertain terms exactly how they feel about us. For example, we all know by now, if you have watched this show for any amount of time, you know of the ungodly carnage in the streets of Chicago. You know how many black folk are being gunned down on a daily basis in Chicago. 4th of July weekend, 117 people shot in just 4 days, y'all. Not for the whole week, just 4 days. 117 people shot, 16 fatalities. This has been going on forever. So this week, the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, requested federal troops from the United States government to help with the problem of this ungodly homicide rate affecting almost exclusively black folk in Chicago. Yeah, but Clarence, that's a good thing. If that's what it takes is, federal troops to come in, well, good. Well, here's the problem with that. Last summer, right at a year ago, then President Donald Trump called the mayor of Chicago and said, Mayor Lightfoot, Donald Trump here. I see that y'all got a serious problem with homicides in Chicago. I got some federal troops I could send to help y'all get this under control. I mean, after all, you're a black mayor. These are black Chicago residents that are being killed. And even though I'm a Republican, I'm not concerned about political affiliation. I'm only concerned with helping stem the murder rate in Chicago. Now, here's the irony. Here's the irony. And this shows you, in no uncertain terms, the difference between us, conservatives, and them, liberals. This shows you. Donald Trump didn't have to do that. Donald Trump could have very easily said, well, it's just black people, and as Joe Biden informed us, black people can only vote Democrat, so why am I wasting my time bothering about helping these folk? But see, us conservatives, we don't see color like Democrats do. we see fellow Americans that need some help. So he offered the help. Last summer, the president then, Donald Trump, said, look, I see y'all got a problem. I want to help. Let me send you some troops. Her response, and I quote, troops are forces that come from the military, and obviously that is not what we need in Chicago. I've made it clear that we do not need nor want federal troops. End of quote. Well, Clarence, you got to understand that the problem wasn't that bad. But now that, you just said 117 people shot in 4 days, now it's at the point where she got to have some help. Well, number one, Chicago has been leading the nation, if not the world, in homicides for how long? But here's what you're missing. And here's the important part. For a whole year, this woman, the mayor of Chicago, refused federal help offered to her. Why? Well, because it was a conservative that offered it. Do you have any idea how many black folk in Chicago, in that time span, in that year, do you have any idea how many black folk were shot? How many children were killed? How many people had their lives turned upside down only because she didn't want a conservative to get the credit? And ironically, Lori Lightfoot is a sister. This is a black woman. You let all these fellow black folks, not that race matters, unless you're a Democrat, you let all these people die, all these people get wounded, paralyzed, kids die for a whole freaking year. But you care so much. All you got to do is watch, y'all. All you got to do is listen. All you got to do is pay attention. You know, as an American who happens to be a black man, seeing the carnage in our streets, looking at what is happening to the number of black folks being murdered in LA, in Oakland, Seattle, Portland, St. Louis, Kansas City, Milwaukee, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Atlanta, Newark, Tampa. Do I need to keep going? Louisville, Birmingham, Mobile. Do I need to keep going? Looking at all of these black folks being murdered. Y'all forgive me for saying it this way. If you got kids, cover their ears in 3, 2, 1. I don't give a damn if it's a purple and pink polka-dotted Martian that's got the answer to the problem. Stop the freaking carnage. And this woman, a black woman, would turn down help to save the lives of children, to save the lives of her fellow people of color, to save the lives of the residents that she swore an oath to look out for. She would turn down help only because Orange Man bad. The ironic thing is, if Orange Man was what the media tells you he is, if Donald Trump was the racist that they tell you he is, why the hell would he offer help to stop black folks from getting killed in Chicago? Never thought about it that way, did you? Didn't think so. If he was such a racist, why would he pick up the phone, call the mayor of a predominantly African American city and offer the help. Y'all never thought about it in those terms, did you? And that's what they're banking on. They're banking on you taking the word of CNN, LOL. They're banking on you tuning in every night to MSLSD. They're banking on you to believe the pablum, the agenda, the propaganda that ABC, CBS, NBC puts out on a nightly basis. And in the meantime, black folk continue to die in record numbers. At some point, you'll realize, maybe don't care, just maybe they don't care as much about me as they say they do. You ought to ask them about that in 3.5 years when they show up in your church to pander for your votes. You better ask them then, because you ain't going to see them again until it's election time. Just a little something to make you go, Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Sit tight.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
We're making 2021 the year of savings, and it starts right now at Team Toyota. Come get a new 21 Corolla for just $189 a month, or get a 20 Camry for just $19,995. It's a year full of savings starting right now, right here at Team Toyota.
The Post on Church Point, a brand new event venue owned and managed by the VFW Post 3693, welcomes you to the bridal show of the future. Come out and enjoy the food, dancing, meet and greet with vendors, and win amazing prizes. Friday, August 6th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. For tickets, please visit thepostbridalshowgonzales.com or follow on Instagram. Located at 42430 Church Point Road, Gonzales. Vendor space is very limited, so hurry to secure your spot.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back for the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. If you've been with us throughout the course of the show today, you may be of the opinion that conspicuously absent from today's conversation was the passing of former Governor Edwin Edwards, arguably the most popular / polarizing governor in the history of our state. Rest assured, this in no way, shape, or form went unnoticed by yours truly. I mean, after all, you always hear me say, I've been in this business for 40 years now, y'all, politics particularly, in covering it and in media. But I could not do it justice in just a segment by myself. So this morning, I reached out to my buddy, everybody's good friend, Leo Honeycutt, Edwin Edwards' biographer, and arguably, outside of immediate family members, maybe the most qualified to spend some time with talking about the life and the legacy of Edwin Washington Edwards. You know, it's funny how, and maybe it's just a part of the human experience, the things you don't know about people until they die. Like I said, I've been in media for 40 years and never knew the guy's middle name. Never knew it. Not until he passed. And that is what that is. But tomorrow, my dear friend Leo Honeycutt has consented to be on the show so that we can give the story the coverage that it so rightfully deserves. Again, he is an individual that arguably was the most popular and at the same time the most polarizing individual in all of Louisiana politics. It is something I'm looking forward to because, number one, it's Leo, and anytime we get together, we always have a good time. But I'm sure Leo has some anecdotes and some insight that very few people are privy to. So tomorrow, we're going to cover a whole lot of ground with Leo Honeycutt, and should be a good time. You know, you've probably heard me say on more than one occasion, everything that comes up should not necessarily come out. It has become, what would you say, Marty, in the last 5 years, hold my beer, bruh, that's become popular over the what, last 5 years or so? It's always been popular with coon asses. Good one, Marty, good one. Say, bruh, hold my beer. Just because you have an idea doesn't necessarily mean you need to act upon it. For example, Jimmy Jennings stuck on the interstate last week when there was, I want to say it was like a 4 or 5 hour delay on the Atchafalaya Basin on that elevated portion of I-10. Traffic stalled for 4 or 5, for some people probably 6 hours. For whatever reason, and I have yet to figure this one out, other than the rationale, it sounded like a good idea at the time. Jimmy Jennings decides, you know what would be a great idea? If I get all the way on the inside lane and run across both lanes and jump off the elevated bridge over the Atchafalaya Basin into the water below. Apparently, dude didn't give a whole lot of thought to what happens after I'm in the water. White people, what you gonna do with them? White people must have been related to Alan Traylor. I don't know. This guy, and of course the video, I'm just seeing if you're awake in the truck, Alan. This guy, in the video that's now gone viral, had to tread water for 3 hours until rescuers were able to retrieve him. Now, those of us that can swim, Clarence, black people can swim? Yes, we can. Think back to when you were a real young person. How many of y'all think you could tread water for 3 hours? Marty's like, not me. That not know me. 3 hours. So after extracting him from the water, he, of course, was charged with criminal mischief and criminal trespassing. So for your efforts, number one, you almost died. Now you got criminal charges to deal with. Way to go, Jimmy. Way to go. Just because it comes up, y'all, does not mean you need to act on it. Now, one thing that is worth acting upon is the new item on the menu here at Bayou Smokehouse. Oh my God, the smoked turkey legs. Ho, ho. Listen, y'all, listen. Number one, they only use American farmed turkey legs. Ain't none of that foreign mess here, okay? Bred, raised, processed only in the good old US of A, number one. Number two, after seasoned, they smoke them for 4 hours. And in talking with Mama B, Miss Bernadette this morning, she told me, Clarence, each one varies anywhere from 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of meat. And you know what a lot of people are doing, she told me? They'll come in, get their smoked turkey leg, they'll eat enough to get full, and then you take that smoked puppy home and put it in a pot of beans. Oh, look at here. Now that's Louisiana, y'all. That's Louisiana, y'all. Come in, get your lunch, take it home, throw that bone and what's left of the meat in that pot of red beans, and it's on, y'all. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Bayou Smokehouse, where we smoke this show Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, every day live. It is truly the home of old school barbecue. That being said, my time's up, y'all, and I gotta go. But this day, probably more so than maybe any other, I give it to you. You're right. America, we're not perfect, but for this old boy's money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you do realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Then again, it really doesn't matter because there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves. Let's take care of each other. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.